There's a Michigan man accused of jumping on the back of a black father who attempted to protect his kids at a hotel pool. The Michigan man that you're seeing, his name is Joel Venema. This Michigan man has been hit with 3 charges, including ethnic intimidation, after he allegedly yelled racial slurs and attacked a black father at the pool of a hotel. Let me put up a picture of the black father who was trying to be protective. His name is Jackie Beard Jr. Him and his family were hanging out at the pool when this other individual arrived and started playing with his own children, slamming them into the pool and making the pool unsafe for other children who were inside of the pool. So here's what happened. The black male, being a responsible parent, decided to say, hey guy, you may wanna be careful here, okay? This is going to possibly injure someone. Eventually Beard said that Venema started treating his kids so roughly that Beard, the black male, felt compelled to walk over and ask him to stay away from his own children, at which point the assault began. Here's what happened in the assault according to the story. He's like, F you, N-word, F you, N-word, I'm going to kill you, N-word, Beard said. Trying to de-escalate the situation, Beard said he started walking away. But Venema wasn't done, allegedly jumping on Beard's back and putting him in a chokehold. He was like, I'm going to kill you, N-word, N-word, you are going to die tonight. I'm like, no, I'm not, Beard said. The court document said Venema was obviously intoxicated, jumped Beard twice in front of his 3 kids. As Beard was beginning to black out from the chokehold, other guests at the pool actually broke up the scuffle and called the authorities. However, after being taken into custody, he continued to use racial slurs toward the Grand Rapids police officer and another arrestee who was black. So let me remind you, ladies and gentlemen, alcohol does not make you racist. It does not. Alcohol does not make you racist. It gives you liquid courage to say what's already in your soul, what's already inside of you. Now think about this. This man is so racist that the idea of a black male father simply telling him, listen, you have to calm down. You are making it dangerous for my children. He feels like that black man doesn't have a right to tell him anything. You see, to him, that is a status downgrade to listen to a black man. So what is his response here? He is such a racist individual that his response is, I now have to kill this father in front of his children. Think about how deep that is. And it doesn't just stop there. He's willing to kill this human being in front of his own children. That's how deep and evil the racism is inside of him. This man walking around every day of his life with this level of racism inside of him. Do you think if he had access to a gun, this would be a different story? It would be. He didn't have access to a gun at that moment. Adrienne, what are your thoughts?
No, you're absolutely spot on. The fact is that this white man, he had essentially been indoctrinated to the belief so much that a black person couldn't, quote unquote, challenge him. When that black person is simply saying, can you please step away from my children? I don't feel that you're treating them in a way that's safe, that was too much, that he had to threaten to kill him. These are things that happen, unfortunately, every day. And this situation could have ended very, very differently, whether the gentleman had a gun or not. If it was maybe a decade ago, even with the white man's word against the black man's word, if it wasn't documented, we don't know how it could have ended. But one thing we do definitely know is that Michigan has some problems when it comes to hate crimes. You know, it had the 5th most in the nation in 2019, where there were 313 racially motivated hate crimes that were logged against people in Michigan. It was a 10% increase from 2018. What we do is we have a lot of, unfortunately, underlying racial sentiments that are so incredibly negative and adverse that people are responding in ways of just ultimate violence and feeling like, how dare you even have the nerve to speak to me? You are so beneath me. And when you have this level of vitriol that is racially motivated, what you have is a lot of dangerous people walking around our society who can't even interact in a normal level. And in this situation, thank God that this black father is safe and okay, because it could have ended up essentially as a modern day lynching.
Absolutely right. And the witnesses were there. They were able to confirm based on witness testimony what happened. But think about this, Adrienne. The black male literally walked away. He walked away in order to de-escalate the argument that started to happen. He walked away. And this white male, with all of his anger and racism, decided to jump on his back and try to kill him, okay? I can't neglect to highlight the politics of our country presently. And here's why. You have political leaders, they call themselves leaders. You have political leaders in this country who would continue to stoke the flames of that kind of racism in order to meet their own political agenda. Because they need a certain amount of people like that to be supportive of their political candidacy.
Yep, we see it all the time now with individuals who are members of Congress, and the subtle comments that they make, all of the microaggressions, all of these things are stoking this fear that was essentially, it was amplified by Donald Trump, and it made it so it was okay to do these things publicly. A lot of people saw that, and that continues to be promulgated by the actions of people, like you said, who call themselves leaders. And it makes the United States very dangerous for a lot of us, especially individuals who don't subscribe to this whole heteronormativity or traditional gender roles, or even just have a different melanin count. And we have to realize that this leadership is taking us in a bad direction. We are gonna end up in a situation where the United States essentially, it just implodes because we are allowing this us-them narrative to continue to reign.
Yeah, and this is not sustainable. You know this. Actions like this, and they're not happening in silos. They are systemic, they are connected, they have been nationalized. These activities are not sustainable in a country like America, okay? Because we already had a bunch of stuff wrong in the first place. So we don't have the level of resiliency that we should have in this country, because we decided not to treat this as the evil that it actually was, right? And so you don't have that factor in your favor now. And you have individuals who are willing to exploit the reality of racism, the reality of that level of evil in order to meet their own political agenda, rather than being true leaders and challenging that notion and trying to course correct the social construct that you see unfolding before your eyes.
Yep, and with the census numbers coming out, essentially showing the diminishing numbers of the white population and the increased numbers of individuals of more than one racial group, and you see the numbers rising. And the fact that the demographics are changing, as has always happened over the course of the United States history, but there are people in positions of power who do not want to see those changes, and thus they will continue to create these narratives to bolster them and to essentially make the United States dangerous for people like you and me.
Very well said.